Hey, it's Friday, so I figured I might as well do a little NFL hour. It's been a month since the last time I've done it, and with so much going on with the league right now, especially with quarterbacks, I thought it would be really important to just spend an hour or so with Nigel B and just kind of talk about the quarterback thing. But this off season has really changed the quarterback market. We see that if you wait too long, you end up like Dallas with Dak Prescott. If you pay him too early, you end up like the Eagles and the Rams with Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. If you're incompetent, you're Houston with Deshaun. If you're prideful, you're the Seahawks with Russell Wilson. And if you get it right and you're lucky, you're Mahomes with the Chiefs. And we've talked about the quarterback being like an NBA player, and we're seeing now that they're using their leverage to the best of their abilities, man. And I just know that it's an imperfect science, but I'd much rather be lucky than, anything else because I'd rather have Mahomes than any of the other quarterbacks. Nigel B,
My guy.
what's good, dog? Welcome back.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Happy Friday, my guy.
So, um, you, you heard what I said about the quarterback situation, man.
I
So,
did.
like, this has been one of the craziest quarterback off seasons we've ever seen. Can you remember anything just quite like this?
That doesn't have to mention the NBA. Not at all. I mean, we
And
don't get
maybe,
this kind of drama and parody outside of the NBA to this magnitude, especially at one position at that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I think maybe this is just more of the NFL becoming younger and diversifying, and I think that they're gonna start taking over the offseason because guess what? We're not talking college basketball right now. We're talking NFL quarterbacks in the heart of NBA season post All-Star break and right on the tips of March Madness.
Right. Right. What do you
So,
make? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
What do you make of what's happening so far? As far as what we've seen, especially specifically the Stafford to Goff. I know that was the first thing to kind of break the ice, and then what we're left with, the leftovers.
All right, so let's start with Stafford to golf. I think both organizations made decisions that should work out for them for what they're trying to do right now. You have Detroit, who's in a total rebuild, which is further evidenced by them letting Galladay go. Um, so you get younger at the position, but you also get, but you also have the opportunity to go out and draft another quarterback just in case you don't love Jared Goff. And management came out and said they're like, we're Jared Goff isn't our guy. We might actually, be looking to improve the position. And then you have the Rams who are in win now mode. You see how their cap situation is. Like they're paying a lot of veteran players, and they're finessing the money and all of that stuff. So they have to retool each year. So they just found the quarterback Matt Stafford, who is more prepared to win right now because Jared Goff, yeah, he caught them to a Super Bowl, but that was on the legs and back of Todd Gurley.
Right. There's a reason I asked you that, so we'll come back to that. So go ahead.
So,
Plus
so,
moves.
so let's see. Let's get to Dak's historic deal.
Okay.
So essentially, Dak signs to the Cowboys for 4 years, 160 million, averaging 40 a year. He came in right above Deshaun and below Patrick Mahomes. Um, Dallas is now the favorite to win the NFC East. I mean, he's getting 75 at signing, I think. He got 75 at signing, and then he's going to end up getting like 95 of guaranteed money. So Dak makes this historic deal, and I've heard someone say it this week that it's really going to change the precedent of quarterback contracts because look at what happened, man. He was able to bet on himself, fight off that fight off the franchise tag and create a different type of leverage that we haven't seen before, where he got low years and he got a lot of guaranteed money, which is something that you usually don't see when somebody has the ability to hit the market again.
Right, right. Um, I'm kind of the way it played out. If you minus his injury, I mean, who knows what the number looks like? I'm not sure how big of a factor that is, but that has to be something that was considered. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's it's not coming off of a broken finger or bruised ribs. Like it was pretty significant. You know what I'm saying? And to still come out on top as much as he did, that's pretty significant. But that doesn't tell me as a fan that that's our guy. That tells me like this is the guy that's going to put us in position to win the Super Bowl, given the
So what
numbers.
so what would Dak have to do to prove to you that he's your guy?
At the very worst, you have to make the playoffs and get out the first round. At the best, obviously, win the Super Bowl. Realistically, you have to be in the NFC Championship game. What 3 of those 4 years? His contracts for 4 years, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, you have to get there 3 or 4 years. You have to. Winning games isn't just enough. If you do what Tomlin does, it's going to be the biggest backlash that we've probably seen in the NFL, given that it's Jerry
So
Jones.
So what if he does? What if he's doing what Aaron Rodgers has done historically? Play really, really well in the playoffs, but get let down by his defense. Are we gonna hold? Are we gonna hold that against Dak, or are we gonna hold it against the organization?
Both, because I mean, if you factor in the numbers, you're supposed to. That's the type of number that you are supposed to. You're capable of overcoming a bad defense and getting them over the hump just as much as that defense as a collective is able to get you past. I don't know, like a last 4 minute interception or something like that to that magnitude.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, the balls in your court, things happen. I get that, but it's really on Dak. It's on Dak. You're in the driver's seat. It's on Dak.
My here's my issue with a lot of the commentary on this contract is that we're focused on the Cowboys being better, but they didn't improve. All they
They
did
didn't.
was
They
no,
really didn't.
they've not made an addition to the team yet. Yet Dak is returning, but they didn't make the playoffs the year before when Dak was there the entire season.
Right.
So just the idea that they're supposed to be better than an improved Washington to me is dismissive of what's going on up there, but also with New York having Saquon coming back, and that team showed a pulse last year under Joe Judge. So the idea that the addition of Dan Quinn, who is me as a Falcons fan, how I feel about him. He
Right.
showed no ability to actually coordinate a defense with us, but I think we're overreacting to just getting the quarterback back on the field and the new defensive coordinator.
In that regard, I think that he just had too much on his plate. I feel like as between the head coach, OC, and DC, it's all about what you can handle and it's trial and error. Just as we see as Matt Patricia, as big as a botched job he did in Detroit, I can't discredit him for what he did in New England. I just don't. I think he's just he doesn't have the capacity to oversee an entire team versus just a unit, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to
Mhm.
admit to that. I think Dan Quinn needs to get back to what got him in that position to be a head coach and just worry about the defense, get people in place, your personnel, and develop that group as a collective. And I think they can be good. They have players on defense in Dallas, but to me, the issue was never really the defense outside of the season. But
Okay.
that offense, you look at the names on that roster, is very lackluster in what I'm getting on the field. You know,
Yeah, we used to blame it on Jason Garrett. We said it was Jason Garrett's fault. All he could do was
we
clap,
did.
and he couldn't coordinate an offense. And Mike McCarthy used to be a quarterback guru or something of the sort, and it doesn't seem that he has an offensive pulse either. And you know that he went and said he watched a lot of film in his year off. He watched like every team and all of that shit. And come to find out, he just made that up to try to get a job. And
Right.
he's looking like the Mike McCarthy that Aaron Rodgers was so happy to get rid of.
Yeah. He's gonna have to update his playbook. We know that's been the biggest knock on McCarthy, as far as what I've been hearing. old school, doesn't transition well to the league and what they're doing. You gotta sometimes you have to go with the flow. You can't be so stubborn to be like, no, I'm gonna make it work. Because obviously we've seen what you can do in Green Bay. We've seen you X amount of years later with newer athletic guys. It's still not working. So something has to be done. Like you said, okay, Dak gets a new contract at the snap of a finger. It's a 360 turnaround. No, you guys got to get some players in place and develop these guys. Your best player should not be your rookie wide receiver, Jeremy Lamb, or not Jeremy Lamb, excuse me, CeeDee Lamb, and you just signed Amari Cooper. He should be doing his thing too, year in and year out.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Dak has a cheaper cap hit. It's gonna be 22 million instead of what the 37, almost 38 million. We'll see if they'll
Right.
be able to. We'll see if they'll be able to turn that into something. But keeping it in Houston, man, Houston, we still have a problem. Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans still aren't on the same page right now. We had David Culley say earlier this week that, yeah, he's our quarterback. But Deshaun is allegedly not talking to him. Let him know he's not wearing the uniform again. Uh, what do you think Houston's trying to do? Do you think they're trying to call Deshaun's bluff? Or are they just that damn incompetent?
It's incompetent, and we knew that when. Now I'm drawing a blank. What was the coach's name? We knew
Bill
that
O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien. We knew it was incompetent when he also had too much in his play as a head coach, dealing with the egos and trying to be GM. You're not drafting well. Like nothing makes sense in Houston. And Dan Culley, to say that this is our guy after months of Deshaun saying, I'm not your guy, I don't want to be here, cut it out. Like cut ties. He's the type of guy, if his wife says we're getting a divorce, he's the type of guy, I'm not signing the papers, we're gonna make this work. No, it's been done. Like my decision's already been made. There's nothing you can do. So why are you still trying to lure me into this? I'm not sold on you. I don't think there's anything that can be repaired.
But if you're the guy who's not trying to sign the divorce right, you're like, well, what about the kids? How are we going to make this work? And you do have a little bit of leverage because you can't end this union without my signature.
The kids on that team are damn near 3-4 year vets. They understand. They're old enough to comprehend. Like, okay, these are adult things. I understand what's going on. I hate to see it, but it's business. Let's move on and let's get going with whatever new direction we have to go in. Let Deshaun walk. It's too much. It's like it's like holding on to a bad quarterback. Like you can either be the Steelers or you can be Baltimore, and I'm taking it back. With Joe Flacco, you can either harbor Joe Flacco along until he's ready to go and have Lamar sit, or you could pull the Band-Aid off like they did, and look, they're happy. Like it hurt for what, a week, and then new headlines were Lamar Jackson, let's see what he's got. Nobody's thinking about Joe Flacco then, and nobody's thinking about Joe Flacco now. Where we are, the Steelers, they're carrying Ben along. We don't have any plan behind them. Let's let Ben decide when he's ready to
Y'all
go.
have Dwayne Haskins.
Don't do that. Not thrilled. It doesn't get it for me. Maybe on Madden, you can use them a little better. I mean, I get that, but this ain't Madden. This is real life, and I haven't seen shit from Dwayne Haskins that makes me feel comfortable, even as a bridge quarterback, to get us to the next guy. So
You say that with all that Michigan on. I just think it's your anti-Ohio State bias.
no, I told you after that 12-game season and the bowl game, I don't care where you went. If you're gonna ball, I was a big Shazier guy. Shazier's my dog. Even Cam Hayward. Once you get past the college season, let's ball. Like, where you going? What you gonna do at the next level? You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy.
So yeah, Houston is still living in la la land. And here's what I see happening. The longer and longer they wait, he's gonna lose value. You see that Cam Newton just got signed to the Pats. So that's another team who needed a quarterback who's now, made a move at quarterback.
There's
I
some foot
think
draggers too. They didn't have a plan in place either, I don't think. Not saying
no.
that they were wrong to sign Cam, but I don't really feel like there's any urgency there.
Well, if they
You
can
know what
get
I'm saying?
Cam, now they got Cam. If they get Hunter Henry and Galladay, and then the opt-ins come back, I think they got a good team.
I like Galladay. I'm a big Galladay guy. I think he's solid. But are they going to do it? They're cheap. They don't spend. They're tight pocket. Their pockets are tighter than the church. So,
Well,
options are out there, but are you going to spend on it?
the rumor is they're gonna spend this offseason.
Yeah. Rumor has it Tom Brady was going to fail significantly without Bill, and we see how that played out. I'm saying.
Yeah. So I see Deshaun's value peaking at the draft.
Okay.
And then after the draft is gonna go down. And if they don't make a move by the draft, at that point, I think they're calling his bluff. And they're going to see if he's going to show up and play and be miserable.
If you're Deshaun, what do you do? I'm sitting. I got nothing else to prove. I do. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, you have something to prove. But if I'm unhappy and I know I'm not going to be giving my all, that's really going to make his stock go down. So looking at it from that perspective, I'm going to just sit. And y'all can sit on the tape that you all do have. You're not about to judge me off of me not wanting to be in place and just going through the motions, because that's going to kill me. It's going to kill both sides. You know what I'm saying?
From my standpoint, I'll probably say sit, but I know my personality in that situation. I probably show up.
Right.
I just want to play ball.
Of course.
But I hope he sits, because I also think that can set another precedent of, hey man, if you're not going to be competent, then I'm not going to be here. And for the people who would have an issue with that, I think you're just selfish. I understand you want your team to be the best team, but I just don't understand the idea of hating player mobility. If a player doesn't want to play somewhere, why the hell does the player have to play there? Like if you have a job working for a company and you decide you no longer want to work there, you serve out the terms of your contract, or you negotiate to void the contract, so then you can do what you want to do.
Right. Although we don't have anything in our 9-to-5 lives as far as tampering and, having to wait X amount of days to do this and that to move around. But I get what you're saying, is that you're not just going to, I hate this job and just keep going and being miserable. You're going to hopefully have some kind of plan behind it to fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But people, we don't relate what we see on TV to our lives. Everything's about fantasy sports and my entertainment and enjoyment. And if you're not playing with my team, fuck you. But that's not realistic.
Why do you think we separate a lot of what's on TV from our lives, as if it's not, these people on TV aren't humans?
Lifestyle and actions, which is why I really respect players like LeBron, who uses his platform. I know this is kind of parallel, keeping it, taking it to the NBA, but a person of that magnitude, we know you're rich, we know you're great, we know that a lot of things that go on in the real world, you could turn a blind eye to, but being who you are, you still deliver messages to people like us, saying that tells me as a fan that you're here with me and you understand what's going on, even though I don't have the money to just kind of say, oh damn, that's terrible, and just kind of live my rich life. It still affects you. Like, you show that you're human. You show these same characteristics that I go through. You know what I'm saying? So I respect that. And I think that's why a lot of players don't use their platform or speak up. We're seeing it more, but I think that's why a lot of people have a hard time separating that they're not like us.
And the thing is, I think a lot of people think so little of themselves because they're not this celebrity. They don't have the reach that these people have. People don't view them the same way. And it's like, oh, I could never be like him or her. Like, no, bro,
Right.
they pants down just like you do.
Right. They all started. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, where do you think Deshaun ends up at? But you could go ahead and finish it, no matter.
Oh no. To be honest, my picks have been so off cue. I have no idea. Where would maybe you like Miami?
Miami?
I see him in Miami. The defense, they can only go up. You know what I'm saying? They can only be as bad as their offense is, and the offense isn't bad. There's some key playmakers away. And they got picks. They got money. So I just feel like it would be a good situation. Going to the Jets just based off of name value from what's my guy's name from the 49ers? I don't really like that
Robert
theory.
Saleh.
Yeah, I don't really like that. Like that's your lone factor. Like, oh, Saleh, great guy, rah rah.
Yeah, he's not a proven head coach, man.
It's the Jets. Like we're talking about the Jets.
Joe Douglas is running things over there. He's competent.
Yeah, but that's not transitioning to on the field.
Well, I mean, he was stuck with Gase last year.
Shit.
Gase might be the worst coach that we've ever seen.
I know it's the worst coach I've ever seen. Worse than Steve Mariucci. Yeah.
Was Mariucci that bad?
Yeah, he was. He was. It's a Detroit thing. I get it.
Oh, yeah, you are talking about Detroit Mariucci. Yeah, I was thinking about 49ers Mariucci.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Detroit Mariucci. And his savior was supposed to be Joey Harrington. You know how that played out. They loved it up there. They loved it. I'm telling you, they loved it. I thought it was the second coming.
How come you're not a Lions fan?
Never made it. Never made it on TV. My uncle's a big Steelers fan, so when I kick it with him a lot, I always grew up around the Steelers. So I was like, all right, this is my team. We never watched the Lions. We only watch the Lions on Thanksgiving. If we do, we're probably on mute. And probably because Charlie Brown's not on. Like, we don't watch the Lions. We don't watch the Lions. We call them the lie down back home. You know what you're going to get every time.
Damn. So I look at Chicago, and Chicago has become aggressively looking for a quarterback. So whether it's calling around for Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and I say, you know what you could have done? You could have drafted Deshaun Watson, number 2 overall. Back when you drafted Mitch Trubisky, you know, the guy who played in the same conference as Trubisky, but looked a lot better and had more accolades and was the number 1 quarterback going into that season. You know what I mean?
That's too easy, though. It seemed like it's too easy. It can't be true. No way.
It's like they love Sid Luckman so much that they don't want anybody to ever be better than him.
Right. They got the defense, right? I just don't know how, like you said, it was so obvious. Why would you not choose a guy that's highly decorated at the collegiate level that had potential and showed signs of elevating at the next level? I still don't understand that.
Like, what the hell did you see from Mitchell Trubisky?
Disappointment. Living in the shadows of Aaron.
I mean, he was a backup until his final season. And the guy who he was backing up didn't play in the NFL. That should tell you everything you need to know about Mitch Trubisky.
Or the Bears front office. But realistically, I mean, he was a backup quarterback with a great defense. And that might be being generous. I mean, I think he could come in and be a backup. I'm not just going to shit on him like he's, cheeks, but he ain't a starter.
I think Ryan Pace should be fired.
Yes. Absolutely.
He hired John Fox and he drafted Mitch Trubisky. He's like, hey, bro, you got to go.
Yeah, that's a daily double.
But, Pace and Nagy figure it out. They're going to give up a bunch of assets to get Russell Wilson. And
the safe brother.
Right. So let's talk about Russell a little bit. So okay. Russell has come under fire from the Seahawks for, speaking out against the organization a little bit, letting it be known that his voice hasn't necessarily been heard the way that he felt like it should. And I think Russ is finally showing his true colors. And don't take this the wrong way. I think a lot of it comes from his wife, someone who is a celebrity, someone who understands the value of maximizing one's brand and also just a strong Black woman.
More controversy in its own.
I'm not going to get into that. And just somebody, in his ear, or really causing problems like, hey, bro, Seattle sucks and your boss ain't listening to you. Like,
right.
Y'all ain't winning Super Bowls. So, let's get somewhere else. And I just think he's finally showing us who he truly is, because I don't think he's ever been, oh, go Hawks. There's no way you can be that competitive, and be this, oh, go Hawks guy in the locker room. No way in hell. It's just like Tom Brady. Everybody thinks Tom Brady's just all golly gee with cornball. Maybe, but he's more of what we saw in the Super Bowl against Tyrann Mathieu than what we see in a commercial.
Right.
Or press conference.
I like how you said, like you said, you can't be so go Hawks and pro team and be content with being stepped over, by management. And you won a Super Bowl. You've been the head guy for a long time. You haven't had an MVP vote. Like, it's a lot of things that don't, line up with being this ultra competitive guy. Because Tom Brady's not settling for that shit. And he did kind of get stepped on over a little bit in terms of having a say so, but he was also winning at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And winning is secure to all evil, in sports. You know what I'm saying? And I think on a lesser scale, he's kind of like KD. I don't think he's not toxic or the villain, but I think he knows that he needs to leave and he'll be embraced wherever he goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I'm saying, I think it worked both ways for Brady, and it's going to end up working for Russ, having the wives who see it differently and see that their husband's not being properly appreciated because of their celebrity status and what they do on their own, and they have success without the husband, so they don't necessarily need him. So when you have a situation like this, it's like, hey, wife's not happy, I gotta go. I just wish Russ was like this all the time, because I just knew that all that other shit was phony.
Right. And you've been saying that, like, he seems too scripted, too programmed.
Yeah.
All for the likeness of the public and the 12th man. Fuck that. Be happy for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're a bum trying to, what winning the ultimate goal feels like. And if you know that you need X, Y, and Z to continue to do that, or at least put yourself in position to do that, and you're not being listened to, you need to go. Like, you need to go.
And for the people who push back on Russ wanting to leave, saying, "Oh, Seattle's just a couple pieces away," it's yeah, but just like you said with the KD thing, it's also a style element to it. Russ is tired of handing the ball off two plays, then throw it deep to DK over the top. He wants to play a more revolutionized style of football. He wants to have the ball in his hands more responsibility on him. So it's not just the front office piece and the poor offensive line play. It's also the style of play. And then again, throw in his wife not wanting to be in Seattle. It's like, yeah, bro, get me the fuck out of here. And it's okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure he would like to run the ball because he wants to, not because he has to. Like, they were slinging his ass last season. And I think over the course of his 9 years, he's close to 500. Like, that's wild. And he's not a big guy. Like, they're really slinging his ass, having fun out there with him. And get him some help.
Yeah, no, did you listen to Greg Olson on Cowherd's podcast?
I did not. I didn't finish. I listened, but I didn't finish.
So he talked a little bit about Russ, and he talked about how important Russ's legacy is for him. Do you think that's Russ being selfish, or is it just a realization that the better my legacy is, the better the results end up being for my team, so they go hand in hand?
They go hand in hand. I mean, how you could spin that on a lot of different players who look out for themselves first, because on the flip side, as management, you might still have juice in the tank, but you're not in the plans. And I mean, it could come down to age. It could come off of, oh, you had a down year in production, even though you know you're capable of doing, this and that. You have to look out for yourself. Just like working a job, you're replaceable. You know what I'm saying? If you're unhappy, you feel like you need a day, skip that job. Like, look out for you first. You know what I'm saying? It can't always be about money.
I mean, you say replaceable though, and Dallas showed us that quarterbacks aren't replaceable because they gave Dak everything he wanted after Dak is coming off of an injury.
Well, they're replaceable. They're just not. You can't replicate what that guy you're replacing can do. That's the difference. You can be replaced.
So if you're Pete Carroll in Seattle,
Hmm.
what are you doing?
Well, obviously not listening to Russell because give a damn about what he's talking about.
No, I'm saying if you were in that seat, what would you do at?
I don't. I mean, I feel like it's too late to try to patch things up. So you got to act quick and move. Otherwise, you're gonna be like Dallas or New England. You're gonna be stuck like in this hole. Like we're getting closer to the draft. You can either spend some money or you can try to find the next best thing on a cheaper contract. Because we've seen in the past, uh, players that are winning Super Bowls, they've been on rookie contracts.
Yeah.
At least in the last like decade, 10, 12 years. Only players not. I think Eli won his first on his rookie contract. Obviously, we know what Tom Brady's done, Mahomes, and the players who have gotten there to the playoffs. And even just those championship games. A lot of the different steps to get there, all rookie contracts. So it's all about finding that balance. You don't want to overspend because as you know, we've seen Brady, Mr. Cheap. The less you take, the more you can make around you. If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you see he just restructured and gave them 19 million in cap relief today.
Yep. Yep.
And I'll tell you where I struggle with that money piece is it's hard for me to tell somebody to take less money.
Especially if
And
you feel like you're good and worth it. I'm with you on that.
right, and everyone's not in the situation of Brady with the other outside interests with the wife, her money to be able to be like, yeah, I don't need this. Like you can restructure my contract so that I can get more talent around me.
Right.
I'm not going to tell somebody to take less. I'm just going to say, you know, what comes with taking less or with taking less and what comes with taking more.
Mm-hmm. You know your worth. That's what they say. Know your worth.
So how did it feel when your GM Kevin Colbert was first tough talking Ben saying, hey, if he comes back, he's going to have to restructure. Did that give you hope that y'all would make the right decision and not ultimately make the mistake that y'all are making?
Not really, because we've seen Ben when Ben was the young guy on the team. We've seen a lot of that was like a thing for the Steelers. Is a lot of players, a lot of veterans, excuse me, restructuring their contract to keep those core guys together. And Ben himself getting off his rookie contract and contracts after that to keep guys around. So he gets the concept, but now he's in a position where it was that thing when we drafted Mason Rudolph. He felt slighted by that. So he's that
Mhm.
guy that doesn't want to. I mean, nobody wants to see their replacement come in the door, their potential replacement. But at the same time, like if you know you're taking up space, like don't be a Vince Carter ass dude. Like just know when it's time. You know what I'm saying? But Colbert
So
gave me hope.
what if I said this right here? Y'all go draft a running back. Y'all have a solid run game this year. You get, let's just say you get 1,300 all purpose yards out of him.
Hmm.
Do you think that team can challenge for the AFC?
Um, yes and no. I know that's not an answer, but it would help. It definitely would be a component. We can compete, especially on the back end of the season when it starts, November, December. You got to have a run game. If you don't have a run game, you're cooked. As you can see, we're an example of that. But at the same time, Ben's arm just isn't the same. Everybody can throw him when it's hot out. I get that, but that wear and tear as the season progresses and it gets colder is harder. So it's not at some point it's not even about having a run game. Yeah, it takes more pressure off you, but when we're on that game with that 2 minute drive down the field fourth quarter and we need to rely on your arm, I don't care if Derrick Henry's back there or Allstott or whoever's back there. You got to drive that ball down the field, and I'm not seeing that from Ben. He didn't show me signs of that.
Nah, he and Drew Brees are like just noodle arms now at the end of the season. Like
Yeah,
once
it's
November,
raggedy.
December hits, they do nothing for you. And speaking of Drew Brees, you know he has not officially retired yet.
I seen, I seen.
And the Saints are dumping money like fucking fleas right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what that division looks like.
This is random. This is kind of off cue, but Aaron Rodgers is eating up 23% of the cap space right now. His contract. That's wild.
He should go. He should do like Tom and take a team friendly deal.
Man, like there are guys out there. Only I think like Wentz is like 3 point something percent of the cap space. I was looking at that earlier today, just researching different cap spaces and players. How much they're taking up. When I got to Aaron Rodgers, I was like, whoa, that's a lot. That's part of the reason you can't get any help.
Do you think Philly looks back at what they did, moving up for Carson Wentz, giving him the extension, eventually trading him and taking the largest dead cap hit in league history? Do you think it was all worth it for that Super Bowl?
No, because down the future, now what? Look at the position they're in. I mean, that Super Bowl is cool then, but what about now down the road? So you're like a one and done. You know what I'm saying?
And so I would trade it in for a Super Bowl because I am a fan who has not won a Super Bowl. But I would not use it as a prototype to follow. And I've had some conversations with Philly fans and they even said, bro, like your Super Bowl is lucky. It was super lucky. Don't get me wrong. Wentz had a good regular season before he got hurt. But yeah, you guys got a lucky Super Bowl. And it's not me hating on you. You got it. So yeah, you got it. But it's just like going to work and earning some money or going and stealing some money. Yeah, you got the money either way. But one way of doing it is a way that you can rely on to work more than not, as opposed to one thing that may only work once and then never work again.
Right. It's like, you're the loser in school. You got some money in your pocket because you work a lot, and you hook up with this girl, but she uses you for your money and dips, versus the girl who was going to ride it out with you, money or not. Mm-hmm. Now, when you realize that she's off with some other guy, so you're kind of like, oh, was it worth it, or should I just just waited it out and just went the safe route? It must be a Philly thing because Philly and contracts don't really pan out too well, apparently.
And they came out, the owner came out and said that they're not going to draft a quarterback. They're looking to build around Jalen Hurts. And for one, hey owner, shut up. Let's not talk in off season. But that could be them letting people know that the number 6 pick is for sale. And if you want to move up and try to get a Trey Lance, try to get you a Mac Jones or even a Justin Herbert, not Justin Herbert, a Justin Fields possibly, that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of the college guys, we got this upcoming crop of rookie quarterbacks. And we're seeing, you always see a quarterback climb the ladder each year.
Every year.
One that sticks out the most to me is Baker Mayfield. He really went from a second to third round prospect to the first overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing Zach Wilson rise like that. It was always Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields 1 and 1A, and eventually became 1 and 2. Now we have this little kid, Zach Wilson from BYU. He's about 6'2", 200 pounds, it looks like. And I mean, I listened to Chris Sims explain why he should be the first quarterback taken, and he said there's space in between he and Trevor Lawrence.
Interesting. One thing I will say, go back to last year's draft, everything was about Burrow and Tua. And I'm not saying they're bad quarterbacks. Obviously not. They got a lot. They have a high ceiling and a bright future ahead of them. But look at where they're at now. Burrow's hurt, and Tua's in trade talks. And then you always have your fine print quarterbacks who get kind of shit on in the draft analysis, whatever. Like your Justin Herbert, and who's the other one? Jalen Hurts. Now look at him. Jalen Hurts is leading the Philly Eagles for right now, and Justin Herbert's, he was balling. The record doesn't indicate that, but he's competent. He can play. He can ball. And the talking heads on TV were like, Justin Herbert this, Justin Herbert that, Oregon this, Oregon that, can't do it, next level, da-da-da. They're comfortable. Like, they're good. They're grounded. They can only go up. So I don't
I'll,
really get too much into that draft analysis stuff at the quarterback position, especially.
so here's my argument for a Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He played with lesser talent, so it required more accuracy from him. He's shifty and athletic,
Mm-hmm.
and from everything I've read, that he has a nice repetitive throwing motion, and he can throw the different Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers like passing angles.
I've seen that. I've read it. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're saying he's real. I'm not saying he's the truth, but he's gonna thrive at the NFL level, probably in the right system. But just the field slander, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not buying it. I'm not
Why do
buying
you
it.
think they're Why do you think they're slandering my man Fields?
Again, it probably goes back to the system. It's not that he can't learn. It's just what he's being taught, how to go through different things, And that injury, kind of set him back maybe a little bit, but I'm not
What
I'm not buying the guy we were just ooh and ah over after Trevor Lawrence to just be like, oh, maybe second, third round. Like that's not realistic to me.
Some people say his race has something to do with it.
Tear a black man down. I don't like that narrative either. Those are the people that always say, "Oh, this is rigged. This is that's that community." So I'm not gonna blame it on race either. You know.
I'm not gonna blame it on race at all. I just think that he showed some inconsistencies, and he was expected to throw the ball a little bit better. And Dwayne Haskins didn't help, and just the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. And it's like he had so much talent around him. He's supposed to put up these big gaudy numbers.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know, man. This class confuses me because we don't have a long history of quarterbacks who came from the powerhouse schools with tons of weapons around them
Right.
work out in the NFL. Like if you think about the starters right now, you have Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma / Alabama. You have Tua from
Hmm.
from Alabama, but look where he's at. You have Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. You have Deshaun Watson. And if you think of it before I can, I think that's about it from the quarterbacks from the major powers. And of these
Yep.
quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson's the only one that I'm confident that I want on my roster. I,
Absolutely.
I'm not as high on Kyler Murray as everyone else is because there's a way to defend him, and it's starting to show because of his lack of height.
The
Baker
book's not
Mayfield.
edited yet.
Right. Baker Mayfield, we know what the hell Baker Mayfield is. He is an accurate game manager. He's a low end Zach Wilson type. Um, and you have Jalen Hurts. We don't know what the hell he is. And then Joe Burrow from LSU. Well, he's only played a few games because of his torn ACL. So I don't know what to think of quarterbacks from the powers.
Out that group, I do like Joe Burrow on and off the field, but specifically on the field, he's a competitor. Like it just shows. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like his swagger. Like he's committed to everything. He just strikes me for a guy like I'm gonna get in here and work. I don't care how bad we are. We finna grind it out. I like that.
Did you see what he tweeted to Ocho Cinco?
I did. That's pretty tight.
Yeah,
That's pretty tight.
I think Burrow has a underrated sense of humor. He has a nice swagger about himself. He's a cocky son bitch.
I like it
I mean, yeah, he
because
can
it's
play
not to the
ball for my
level of
birds.
Baker Mayfield, but you can back it up though. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, like Baker's not isn't as good.
And back to the powerhouse thing. You look at quarterbacks who have been there, who have been successful. Aaron Rodgers going to Cal, Ben Roethlisberger, Miami of Ohio, Drew Brees, Purdue, Tom Brady, who really wasn't much of anything at Michigan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he struggled
Um,
starting in Michigan.
Not saying that should be the blueprint of drafting quarterbacks now. They'll just find guys from smaller schools and
I
groom
mean,
them up. But
look at
I mean, it
Mahomes.
works. But like you said, you're working with lesser talent, so in your head, that kind of has to give you an extra boost to complete these passes. You got to go extra harder.
I mean, because one of the knocks I saw in Trevor Lawrence was his ball placements wasn't great. He just throws the ball in the vicinity of really good playmakers, and the same is said about Justin Fields. He just does it a lot less accurately.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
But I think, man, he gets a good coach to work on his mechanics. He'll be fine. I mean, look at what Josh Allen turned into in year 3.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah, Josh Allen. That's another one.
Do you think?
Also on a rookie deal and almost made it to the Super Bowl. So
Do you think that Lamar gets more or less than Dak?
probably more. Probably more.
42.
Even with the restructure of the cap space that the teams are working with.
So, what do you think that cap looks like? Because I hear some people who are saying it's about to like rocket up, and then others are saying that it's going to like slowly increase year by year. And it's not going to be just this sudden boom.
I don't know, Lee. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. It's gonna take. I don't think it's gonna just hit like, okay, this is the cap space now. I think they're gonna test it gradually
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think you can just flip it back up to an exuberant amount of cap space going from after they done shrunk it down significantly. Because teams are cutting players that they probably wouldn't be cutting if the cap space would have remained the same. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like guys that they probably would want to keep, some guys that they need to keep, but they're just cap hit casualties.
oh yeah. No, this offseason is going to be terrible for veteran players. A lot of players are going to get.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good players are going to be underpaid, which is why, for one, Tampa Bay is going to have the opportunity to run it back because they're going to be able to lowball some of their guys. But I can also see a Jets, having a quick turnaround, or the Pats really bouncing back because the Pats have the opt-ins. They have their quarterback coming back, and they have a lot of cap space.
Yeah, if you got pieces away, this is a time to thrive. Like this is an off season to thrive in, and not
Yeah.
even to factor in the draft. You know what I'm saying? So if your GM's competent, you should probably have something to look forward to.
Well, I hope Terry Fontenot is fucking competent. I hope we can. I hope we can take that number 4 pick and we can package it and get a bunch of assets moving forward. Or we take our franchise quarterback Justin Fields or Trey Lance, and then we prepare to part ways with Matt Ryan and Julio, and at the end of this upcoming season.
I forgot who I was listening to. They said they could see Matt Ryan, given that he still has a lot in the tank still.
Mm-hmm.
They could see him in the starting role this year and next year. What would your thoughts be on that if Matt Ryan was a starter going into 2023, 21, 22, or
Depends on what my
2022?
defense looks. Depends on what the defense looks like. If we build up a competent defense and Arthur Smith can bring that ground and pound to Atlanta with the the shots over the top, uh, I'm okay with Matt Ryan if the defense is solid. Do I think we will win a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan? No, but I do think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Given the shakeup in the NFC and the teams that are up and coming and the
If
teams that
our
were already in the playoffs.
if our defense is top half of the league, we're a totally different franchise.
Okay, that's fair.
But I want Matt Ryan going yesterday.
That's your boy, man.
He's the quarterback for the team that I support.
Well put.
And
Okay.
I don't care to take a big dead cap hit if it's not going to be the difference between us getting to the championship or not.
I feel that. I feel that.
Well, that's all I got on my list. Is there anything else you want to hit? Anything you want to ask me?
I don't have anything. I think we talked throughout the week. We had some good conversations. I don't really have anything. Not yet. Who would you like to see drafted, like specifically at number 4?
Probably Trey Lance.
I think. Are you all four? Did I get that right? Or is that the Lions?
Yeah,
I can't remember. Oh, okay.
I would for it. I Trey Lance.
Okay.
That's who I want to play quarterback for the Falcons. I don't want slew-footed Mac Jones.
I do like pocket passes, but Matt Jones doesn't get it for me. I'm not sold on him. I'm not saying he's not capable of leading. I just don't think like, oh, Matt Jones, he's the new franchise quarterback. But I'm
He
a
played
Big
it
Ten
out.
guy, so I ain't watch a whole lot of SEC and Alabama specifically.
Well, yeah, you like watching that slow football. I don't understand it. SEC, we move with pace out there.
I
The
just
ath-
really hate that we get shit on for losing to Ohio State once a year, and you all get shit on by Alabama twice a year, but nobody talks about that. You know,
because it's
I get it.
Alabama. Alabama wins championships.
I get it. But you all actually have the opportunity to beat these guys, and you just fall short every time. All bark, no bite. I'm waiting for the bite. I've been waiting. I've been pulling for you all. I like the Bulldogs. I do. I don't like seeing Alabama win all the time, but
I mean, I don't either. At least I think we understand what we are, and we don't consider ourselves a NCAA power. We just kind of know that we are
are you
great at
not?
recruit. Huh?
You don't?
No, I think we're great. We're great at recruiting. We're NFL powerhouse. But we're not on the Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State level. But unlike you guys, we understand that, and y'all just keep trying to go sit at the adult table, and it's like, bruh, stop. Y'all, you're gonna get your 8-9 wins this year. It's gonna be it.
I can't argue that. It is what it is.
I mean, khaki pants is gonna keep up.
He's actually wearing blue pants now. He's switching it
Is
up.
he?
He is.
I you know I struggle to watch y'all because your quarterbacks transfer mid-season damn near every year.
Hey, listen, change is on the way. We got younger, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say too much, but it's definitely translating into recruits, and I like that because those old guys that were coaching under Lloyd Carr, they weren't translating to the 2020 this decade of athletes. So,
You don't think the trips to the Vatican did it?
oh no, they moved the Joe Paterno statue to the library. They didn't destroy it, and the reason is they're just a reminder to keep everybody quiet. We don't have those problems at Michigan.
We're gonna close out on that one, Najee.
Just saying.
Hope y'all enjoyed this show and our random college football banter. I'll be sure to have Najee be back on all throughout the offseason. These shows are going to be inconsistent because, football news is moving, but there's just so much other stuff going on that's not as pressing. But we'll be back probably before the draft. Thanks, Naj.
For sure, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yep.